So let's see how we can do it. So first of all, open your favorite browser and search for XAMPP. And the first link which will appear here will be from apachefriends.org. So we are going to click on this link. And once you are on this XAMPP website, you will be able to see the download button for XAMPP for Windows, Linux and macOS. So we are interested in the Windows version. So straight away you will be able to see this XAMPP for Windows option. So just click on this, which is going to start the download of this XAMPP Windows.exe file. So just wait for the download to complete. So once this executable file is downloaded, I'm going to click on this and then I'm going to minimize my browser, which is going to start the XAMPP setup window. So first of all, you will see this kind of warning. Do you want to allow this app to make changes on your device? I trust this app. So I'm going to click on yes here. Now you can see the setup window is going to start. Now first of all, it's going to show you this kind of warning, which says important because an activated user account control on your system, some functions of XAMPP are possibly restricted. So just ignore this warning for now and then click on OK, which is going to start this setup window. And then we are going to click on the next button here. And XAMPP server is going to come with all these tools. So it's going to come with Apache server, MySQL, FileZilla, FTP server, Mercury mail server and Tomcat. And languages which are supported by XAMPP server is PHP and Perl, and the program languages are PHP MyAdmin, Webalizer and Fake SendMail. So I want all these components, so I'm going to leave everything as default and then click on next. And this will be the location where XAMPP will be installed. So if you don't have the good reason to change this location, just leave it as default and then click on next. And then you can choose the language in which you want to install XAMPP server. I'm going to select English here and then click on next and then click on next. And at this point it says, how do you want to open this? So I'm going to select the browser of my preference, which is Google Chrome, and then click on OK, which is going to start this kind of web page here, which says, say hello to favorite applications on XAMPP. I'm going to minimize this browser and then click on next here, which is going to start the installation process of XAMPP on my Windows 11 operating system. So at this point, you just need to wait for this progress bar to reach to the 100% mark. And while the installation process is going on, you will also see this kind of warning. So I'm going to just click on allow access at this point. So after some time, you will see this message which says completing the XAMPP setup wizard. And here you will also see this checkbox which says, do you want to start the control panel now? So I'm going to leave this checkbox as checked and then click on finish, which is going to start the XAMPP server on my Windows 11 operating system. So you can see the XAMPP server control panel window has been started. You can also open the XAMPP server from the list of all these apps on your Windows 11 operating system. So when you will scroll down here, you will be able to see the XAMPP server here under XAMPP folder. Okay, so you can see this is the control panel which is opened right now. So you can always go to your Windows Start menu and then open this XAMPP server from here. Once the XAMPP server is started, you will see this kind of window. Also, you will be able to see this icon which is created here, which is for XAMPP server. So it also indicates that XAMPP server is running. So on this XAMPP control panel window, you will be able to see all these modules, the Apache module, MySQL, FileZilla, Mercury and Tomcat. And you will be able to see some button in front of all these modules. So the first section is for the start button or the stop buttons. And then the next section is for the config button. So you can configure all these modules using this config module. And you can also see the individual logs of all these modules. So if they have any errors, you will be able to see in the logs, right? So let's start the Apache server first of all. So in front of Apache, I'm going to click on the start button, which is going to start the Apache server, right? Once the Apache server starts, you will be able to see that here you will be able to see the green color around this Apache. That means everything is running successfully. Once the Apache server is running, you will be able to see the stop button for stopping the Apache server. You will also see the PIDs. So using these PIDs, you know on which PIDs this Apache server is running. So if you want to force kill the Apache server, you can use these PIDs, right? You can also see the config and logs, which I'm going to cover a little bit later. You will also see these ports. So these are the default ports on which the Apache server starts. So if by chance these ports are not free on your Windows 11 operating system, then your Apache server is going to show the error. And I'm also going to show you how you can solve that error. But first of all, our Apache server is running on port 80. So we can go to our browser, and then here I can just write localhost and then press enter. And if you see this kind of window, that means Apache server is running successfully on your Windows 11 operating system and it's working fine, right? So you can see I have opened the local host on which Apache server is running, and it has opened the dashboard on the Apache server. So everything is working fine for the Apache server. Also in this web page, you will be able to see this phpMyAdmin. So when you click on the phpMyAdmin, it should open the phpMyAdmin window. But for now, it's not going to show you the phpMyAdmin window, and it's going to show you this error. Why it's showing this error? Because we haven't started our MySQL server here, right? So you can see MySQL is not started. So we have to start MySQL in order to see the phpMyAdmin interface. So let me just click on the start button here, and then I'm going to click on allow access here. And now you can see my MySQL server is also running on port 3306, and I can stop this MySQL server at any time. Now my MySQL server is running, so I'm going to refresh this web page once again for phpMyAdmin, and you will see that this phpMyAdmin window, and it's going to show you this kind of interface. That means your phpMyAdmin is also working. From here you can create databases, you can run SQL queries and do many things related to your database, right? So that's running. Now remember, I have told you that if this port 80 is already occupied on your Windows operating system by some other service, this Apache server is going to show you some errors. So first of all, how you can check which ports are already occupied on your Windows 11 operating system. So Xampp control panel comes with this netstat tool. So when you click on this netstat button, it's going to show you the list of all the ports which are occupied on your Windows 11 operating system. So you can see port 80 is occupied right now by my Apache server. But let's say if it's occupied by some other service, it's also going to show you the name of that service, right? Similarly, you can see MySQL is running on port 3306, and you can see all the other ports which are occupied on your Windows 11 operating system with all these services, right? So let's say this port 80 is already occupied. So I want to change this port of Apache server. So for changing this port, you just need to stop your Apache server first of all, and then click on config here. So for the configuration, you can choose the first option, which is httpd.conf file. So I'm going to click on the first option, which is going to open this kind of file. So on this http.conf file, just scroll down a little until you see this listen keyword, right? So you can see the default port right now is 80. I can change this port to something else. So let's say I want to change this port to port 8080, right? I can also change this, but it will not change anything because you can see this line is commented, right? So you need to change this port in order to change the port of your Apache server, and then just save this file by pressing Ctrl S, and then you can close this file. Once that's done, you can once again start your Apache server. So click on the start button, and this time you will see that now the port of Apache is changed to port 8080 in my case, right? So this is how you can change the port. Now once again, when you go to your browser and type localhost here, this time it's not going to open because now our server is running on the different port, right? So if the port is 80 on your Windows operating system, you don't need to provide any port information on the browser. But if you change the port from port 80 to some other port, in our case we have changed it to port 8080, I need to add this colon and then add the port number. In my case it's port 8080, and then press enter, and then only it's going to open, right? So you need to write the port number after the localhost in order to open this web page if you changed the port here. So the port should be similar, which is visible here on this browser after localhost. Similarly, this PHP myadmin is also not going to work, right? Why it's not going to work? Because you guessed it right, you need to add colon 8080 after the localhost and then press enter, and then it's going to work normally, right? So if you change the port here, you need to change the URL also here. Once these two servers are running, just minimize this window. Now we need to go to the location where we have installed the XAMPP server. By default, it's installed in the C directory. So I'm going to go to my C directory, and then I'm going to just go under this XAMPP or XAMPP folder. So click on this XAMPP folder, and then here you need to go inside this htdocs folder. So once you are inside this htdocs folder, you can create any folder of your choice where you want to save all of your PHP files. So you can right click here and then create a new folder and name it anything. So I'm going to name my folder as my app. You can give any name to your folder. In my case it's my app, and then I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to go inside my folder. Now in here you can create a PHP file. So in order to create a PHP file on Windows, you need to create a text file and then change the extension of it. Otherwise you can open Visual Studio Code here, right? So right click here and then click on show more options, and you will be able to see this option which says open with code. So just click on this option, which is going to open this folder, my app, in Visual Studio Code. Otherwise, if you don't want to open it from here, you can just open Visual Studio Code first of all, and then you can just copy the path of your folder which you have created recently, and then click on file and then click on open folder, and then just give the path here, and then click on select folder, which is going to open the same folder, right? So once you have opened this same folder, which is essentially this folder which we have created, you can see this folder name is my app. Here we can create our PHP file. So I'm going to name my PHP file as test.php here, okay, and then press enter. And at this point, Visual Studio Code is going to recognize that you want to write some PHP code, and you can see cannot validate since a PHP initialization could not be found. Use the settings PHP path to configure this PHP executable, right? So for now, we are going to just close this window. Otherwise, if you want to set the PHP exe file, then you can click on the open settings option. But we want to run PHP using the XAMPP server, right? So we are using right now Visual Studio Code as just the editor, and everything will be taken care by our XAMPP server. So here you can just write a very simple PHP hello world program like this, which just prints hello world in order to test whether it's running or not. And once you are done, just save your file. And once the file is saved, we can go to our browser and then just type localhost. And if you have added some port, you can also type some port here. You can know the port on which your Apache server is running by just viewing this port under ports. You can see it's running on port 80 in my case, and by default the localhost will run on port 80. If it's running on any other port, you need to type colon and then the number of port. If it's running on port 8080, then you just need to type the port number here, right? You can just type localhost colon 80, which essentially means localhost, and then I'm going to press enter here. You can see the Apache server is running. Now in order to see your PHP file, what you need to do, you need to just open the same folder structure. So you need to type the name of your folder, which is my app, and then test.php, right? So instead of dashboard, just write the name of the folder in which your PHP file is there, and then the name of your file, which is test.php in my case, right? And then press enter, and it's going to show you this result, which is hello world. And you can see what we have printed, hello world, right? I can also add some more text here and then save this file, and then I can just refresh this file and it's going to show me the output, right? So this is how you can run your PHP files with Visual Studio Code on your Windows 11 operating system. Now if in case you want to run your PHP files using command prompt or command line, then what you can do? So for that, you might need to add the PHP in your environment variables, right? So if you have installed XAMPP, the path for PHP executable file is, you once again need to go to your C directory and then go under XAMPP folder. And here you will be able to see the PHP folder, right? So here you will be able to see all the PHP related files, and you can use php.exe to run your PHP files, right? So just copy the path in which your php.exe file is there, and if you have installed the XAMPP and if you have installed the XAMPP in the C directory, just copy this path which I have copied, and then just click on the search icon here and then just type environment variables. So just type environment, and once you type few letters of environment, you will be able to see this option which says edit the system environment variables. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to open this window. So here just click on environment variables and then select the path environment variable under system variables, and then click on edit or double click on it. Here we are going to add a new environment variable and then just paste the path which we have copied, which is the path of our PHP directory inside our XAMPP folder. Okay, I'm going to press enter here and then click on OK, OK and OK. So once you have set the environment variables, you might need to restart your Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to just exit Visual Studio Code and I'm going to restart my Visual Studio Code in the same directory in which my PHP file is there. In my case, it's my app, and in my app I have this test.php file, right? Now once I have restarted my Visual Studio Code, I can open the terminal from here. So I'm going to click on terminal and then new terminal, And here you can see it has started this PowerShell terminal for me, and in the right hand side I can see the list of all the terminals, right? So once again, terminal, new terminal, and by default, because PowerShell is the default terminal on my Windows 11 operating system, it opens the same folder in the PowerShell. If you are not a fan of PowerShell, you can also open the command prompt from here. So click on arrow, command prompt, and it will open the command prompt. Now, if you know some PHP commands, you might also know that in order to run your PHP file, you can just type PHP and the name of your file, which is test.php in my case, and then press enter, and you can see it prints the output, which is hello world. So this was possible because we have set the PHP environment variable, right? If PHP environment variable is not set, this command is not going to work, right? And if it's not working, just restart your Visual Studio Code once again and try it. So if you want to test small PHP scripts, you can directly test these scripts from here. Otherwise, you can always use this browser where your output will be shown, right? In addition, you can also install some popular extensions related to PHP, right? So when you just click on this extensions icon here, you will be able to see the extensions which are popular. You can also search for the extension for PHP. Just type PHP in the search box, and it's going to show all the popular PHP related extensions. So you can see this one is most popular here, and it's developed by Xdebug, and the number of downloads here is around 6 million, right? So you can click on install and then just install this extension, and this will help you to debug your PHP code using Visual Studio Code editor. You also have the other popular extensions for, let's say, PHP code intelligence for Visual Studio Code, and PHP Extension Pack is also here. So in this PHP Extension Pack, some popular packs are here, for example, PHP Debug and PHP IntelliSense. So you can install all these popular extensions and then just try to use these extensions in order to debug your code or run your PHP scripts, right? So this is how you can run PHP files on your Visual Studio Code. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.